another beautiful day to be reviewing some newspaper headlines with you, and welcome to the new month as well as the new week. And we also have our new guest, Barrister Damisi, in the house.
Yes, thank
Barrister
you.
Damisi, welcome.
Thank you very
They
much.
usually say Monday is the most stressful day of the week because after you've relaxed for, you're already used to relaxing, and you now come to Monday and you're like, all the work is there for you.
Yes, that's it for most people. But for productive people, we like Mondays.
You like Mondays?
I like Mondays.
Okay, that's good.
It's a day to make money.
Wow. Okay, so we'll be diving into our tech news, where we see that China Mobiles buy 14.4% stake on Hong Kong HKBN for $137 million. We have seen that China Mobile is already the largest wireless carrier of users, and the deal strengthens its foothold in Hong Kong, a critical and competitive telecom market, gaining nearly a third of major broadband provider, and gives it more influence over infrastructure pricing as well as service innovation in the region. This is quite a big one. It's a nice thing that China is actually crossing borders, not just Hong Kong. Beyond Hong Kong, I've heard that so many other countries, China have been involved. Anything tech, I feel like Chinese people love anything that has to do with technology. We can say that maybe AI was actually crafted out of that particular country.
The Chinese people, they'll be very aggressive in terms of technology.
I'm telling you.
The country that gets it right or gets it fastest in terms of AI and tech is going to be like the next big thing, the next big superpower. That's why you see this competition between China and America. The Chinese people are looking to expand their technological base, acquire and tech race. The Americans are trying to undermine China. Chinese people too will also try to undermine US products and all of that. So it's a good one for the world in general. Competition is what drives market. Competition drives innovation. Competition makes things better. So let them compete and let us see progress.
Let's see progress in it. Okay, we'll be moving into our first newspaper, and the first newspaper we'll be looking at is the Punch newspaper front page, where we see that fuel imports surged to 71% as marketers ditch local refineries. That can be seen in page 27. And in page 42, we see that 2027 Obi-Wan-Tem presidency Gambia sparks political firestorm. And beside it, also in page 27, we see that Oyetola vows sweeping reform to end both mishap as committee summits report. Beneath it in page 28, we have that under fire Kayamo defends the 712 billion naira airport revamp. And the big headline, we see that 2027 tension, APC kingmakers scrambles to quell state level uprising. We also see in page 28 that 220 oil blocks abandoned amid debt crude crisis. And in page 42, we see that striking doctors cripple Lautech hospital operation. Now back to the story. Back to our story on the repulse of over 712 billion naira Lagos Airport renovation contract. We had that the Federal Executive Council recent approval of the 712 billion naira for renovation of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport (MMIA). Lagos has sparked a public outcry, with stakeholders and opposition parties, as well as aviation experts, raising concerns over cost, timing, and lack of allocation of budgets, as well as critics, including African Democratic Congress (ADC), describes this project as a wasteful, especially in this time of need, where Nigeria is focusing more on their security measures as well as feeding, agriculture, and other things. They feel like and actually buy into that idea that at this point in time, we're not saying innovation is not good. We're not saying do not try to make things better. We're not saying do not move towards the success of all those kind of things. As a station, we actually try to we like innovation. We like
Innovation,
this
yeah.
kind of things where
Yeah.
people get to make other things better.
Yeah.
You get to upgrade this thing from the normal level to another,
another
level.
level.
But the amount of money put into this thing, I think last week too, the same thing happened when the Falcons, the Super Falcons were being awarded with some money. People were coming out. So we have this kind of money. The money we hear on things that are not really necessary. We're not saying they are not necessary, but like presently as we speak, those things are not actually
And
necessary at the time.
they're not priorities.
They're not our priorities.
They
Thank
shouldn't
you.
be. They shouldn't
So-
be priorities. Yeah.
So putting money into those kind of things, that amount of money, not even a little amount of money, we're talking about 712 billion, not million, 712 billion naira into just trying to restructure an airport.
You know, I've always said this since like 10 years ago. I've always said that we are renovating MMA, Murtala Mohammed Airport, International Airport. I've always heard that we've been renovating. When will the renovation stop? And we finally, and whenever I go to the airport, I say, what's the renovation that has actually been? But like you said, scale of preference, you know, innovation is good. Renovate it as you want, as you would like. Number one, the money is too bogus. 712 billion naira. That's massive. Then again, your scale of preference, your priority. I mean, Nigeria is going through a lot of tough times. You know, people can't eat, people are not secured, you know.
Yeah.
And when you call this kind of amount for people and you tell them you want to use it to renovate an airport, they will just look at you and say, that airport, is it really worth it? What's the airport going to generate? What is it going to bring? So I think the government needs to do more enlightenment, probably to let us know how it will benefit the common man to spend that kind of money. Maybe the government needs to educate us more, because right now Nigerians are not smiling as regards that. And you know, the opposition parties will always latch on to this. They will latch on and they will tell you that you are wasting public funds, because it's not their money, it's our money. What are you using our money for in renovating the Murtala Mohammed International Airport? What's the basis for that? In this situation, in this time when we are facing food crisis, food shortage, we are facing security issues. You know, we are facing a lot of stuff. And so the government needs to come and enlighten us as to why are you spending this amount of money. And you know, Nigerians don't forget, 712 billion naira. They will tell you that that 712 billion can only be 25 billion that will be used. Others, corruption will take the rest.
We feel like these things are, it's just like a way for the government to
siphon funds. Yes.
And it's the greatest fear of Nigerians. We feel like every way the government is using to actually make these innovations is a way to just siphon money out of. But anyway, what do you think about it? We actually call on the government to actually tell us and to actually state what the money is for. And we want to see, apart from stating it, we want to see this innovation come out. We want to go to the airport and see the improvements, a great improvement. What's that money that you are bringing out? But anyway, before we would continue with our newspaper review, we'll be going on a short break. When we come back, we'll be looking into other newspapers. Television. I am Jacobs Deborah, and we've actually been reviewing some newspapers with our able guest barrister, Damisi, in the house. Yeah. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you. My pleasure.
It cannot be overemphasized. You're coming. Okay, so we'll be looking into the next newspaper, which is the Vanguard newspaper, where we see that soaring drugs cause ignorance, fueling hypertension and deaths in the country. Now, looking into that particular story, we were just talking about it before we went on the break, that most of these things, most of the money and the innovation we see are not in the particular places that we are supposed to be seeing or hearing them from.
Yeah.
Like this case of soaring drug costs. I've heard that so many people have been dying of hypertension, maybe because they cannot actually get access to these drugs. And I feel like government hospitals, the difference between a government hospital and a private hospital is that government hospitals or government facilities are more affordable
Yeah.
for citizens than the private. That's
yeah.
what makes the difference. The difference is the fact that private people look at their profits, but government, we are not looking for profit there. They are not looking, their first aim is not for profit earning. It is that they be able to reach out to citizens. Now, hearing that money is being put into airports and the health of citizens, who will now go to those airports? If we do not have citizens that, if we hear that citizens are dying daily, who will now be the ones to actually go to these airports?
You see, so that, like you said, what we're saying, scale of preference, prioritizing issues. You get, now we are talking about people not being able to access drugs at a cheaper or at an affordable rate. You know, so it's so sad, it's so bad that why can't we subsidize these drugs? I was telling people there are a lot of things that in foreign countries, in European nations, they subsidize a lot of stuff, a lot of their drugs, a lot of their food. In Nigeria, we also need to start subsidizing because these drugs are getting more expensive by the day, and people can't have access to them. And the more people don't have access to these drugs, the more they die. Hypertension, you know, and hypertension, like they always used to say, I used to hear of this palace, I don't know if it's true, they say it's a big man's ailment. Yes, so if a big man cannot afford hypertension drugs, is it the man that is the 70% of Nigerians that are living below the poverty line that will be able to afford hypertension drugs? You know, so our facilities, our health sector needs to be prioritized. Yeah, these are the areas that need priority, not just pumping money into airports that might end up being a white elephant project.
So I want to hear from you. Do you think hypertension is for only the rich people, or every other person can actually be affected by this particular outbreak of disease? The next news, yes, actually, going down, the next news, I actually looking at this newspaper front page, was the killing in Benue leaders seeking the European Union, the UK, and the US intervention. Good. This just shows the amount of insecurity we have in the country, that we cannot even trust our own security. We are now going out to ask for help. Not for national security, for state security. We're not even talking about help for national security. It's now becoming a global issue that is not even a nation, the whole of Nigeria, I mean, that is suffering from this insecurity. Okay, maybe we're facing insecurity because of some outbreak of security this thing from an external country that we cannot be calling upon another country to help.
Yes,
this is
internal.
We cannot solve our internal problems.
It's so sad. It's so sad that Benue State's indigenous, Benue State residents, the government itself needs to be calling on outsiders, that is people outside of Nigeria, to come help them to defend. Are we helpless? That's the question. Is the government helpless? Is it that they are so helpless that we cannot defend ourselves? And so it just bothers me a lot. One of the issues that bothers me a lot in this country is security. You know, these are
we're not even safe again. Apart from even going outside and being safe, we're not even safe again in our own homes.
In our own homes. You know, people just come in, destroy. It's as if, and people are not punished for it. We don't hear of people being punished for destroying people's lives, people's source of income. And so it's a worrying concern that Benue State will be calling on EU, be calling on US government. They themselves, they'll be looking at you, are you even serious? What do you want us to do? Is it to send you money? Or they'll just look at you, poor nations, they'll just look at you with levity, and you know. So it's so sad. I feel the government, both the Benue State government and the federal government, needs to actually do something to save the lives of people.
To actually look into it, please. So that we do not bring what they popularly know as
syphilis. Shame.
We do not bring it into our country. Please, let's try to actually look into this kind of issues instead of revamping money into things that are not really necessary at the time. We're not saying they're not necessary. Innovation is good, But at the time, what is the main issue on the table? Let's solve that one before we move into another. Okay, the next newspaper front page we're looking at is the Nation newspaper front page, where we see that First Head Co demonstrates resilience with robust half-year performance and gross earning by 18.1% to 1.7 trillion naira. And we also see beneath it that the federal government 712 billion naira upgrade will turn MMIA into the world class. Okay, this particular story, I think the federal government has come out to actually make
They've come out to
yes, they've actually
defend
defend the particular story we had in the other newspaper. It said the federal government has justified its approval of the 712.3 billion naira upgrade of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, assuring Nigerians that in 2 years, this project is for 2 years, and in 2 years' time, the project is to transform the country's that particular airport into the biggest world-class aviation and managing airports. That they are targeting it to be a world-class airport. Now, like you said, we've been looking at it since 10 years ago. They've been working on that particular airport, and we're not seeing any changes. We're not saying the changes is bad. We want to see it. We want to see what the money is used for. We want to see that apart from even seeing what the money is used for, we want to see that what the money is used for, it can, when you bring the money and bring what is, you can equivalent them together.
Yes.
Not that we'll see that half of the money, or not even up to half of the money, has been used. Then you say because of you just did one little thing, and you expect that we would agree that 712 point something billion naira has been pushed into it, and we do not see the impact of it.
So in 2 years' time, like you said, in 2 years' time, let's look at the airport and say, okay, you said you spent 712 billion plus. So what you've done, is it worth 712 billion naira plus, like you said? So for now, everybody will just look at the government and say, yes, we are giving you 2 years. But like I said, like I always say, it's not a priority. Of course, we can upgrade the airport, but we don't need to upgrade it to a we just need to get some things right first. Then we can now secure your citizens first, get good health sector and all of that, and then you begin to talk of upgrading. But maybe I don't have the facts that the government has, and maybe they see this as a better priority. But let's look at 2 years from now. Let's see what they will be able to achieve.
Yes. Yeah, let's like we said, thank God for technology. We would look at this video in next 2 years. We'll come back to look at it, and we'll try to remind the government this is what
you promised.
This is what you promised. So let's see it. Okay, the next newspaper we'll be looking at is the Peak newspaper, where we see that the story that we just read last, the 712 billion naira for Lagos airport renovation, misplaced priority, ADC comes out to say. We also see that seize the moment, shape the future, Peter Obi tells Nigerian youths. And the big headline, we see that 2027, Ayede Tiwa Ade, Comrade Bola Tiwo backs Tinubu for re-election. We also see Taraba lecturers regain freedom for 4 days after abduction. Just what we're saying, the level of insecurity in Nigeria. And beneath it, we see that the federal government plans the 712 billion naira Lagos airport overhaul, Kayamo says. The next newspaper front page we'll be looking at is the Daily Trust newspaper front page, where we see that the rumpus over 712 billion naira Lagos airport renovation contract amount is outrageous, expert says, and EDC demands suspension. The federal government also defends this project and says funding is from subsidy saving. And beneath it, we see that the IPI, NGE, as well as others slams Niger government over the order on radio stations. Beneath it, we see that flood destroy houses, schools, farms, Plateau, Bauchi, in Plateau, Bauchi, as well as Niger State. And beneath it also, we see the bandits raid 16 Zamfara villages and kills 5 and abducts many. And the last headline, we see that uncertainty over Bayo Olujare's job as NNPCL boss comes out to say. And the next newspaper front page we'll be looking at is the Daily Times newspaper, where we see that Okechukwu to Yaliwata on APC, beware of the waiting banana peel, in page 9 of that newspaper. And in page 2, we see that 40% Nigerians remain unbanked despite fintech booms, experts come out to say. We also see that states should take greater responsibility for internal security. Engineers actually comes out to reply that particular Benway seeking for help from
External
the
help,
external bodies. He said the states should actually take a greater responsibility for their security. Now the states have, I'm very sure, after, especially after that killing, that a huge amount of killings of people in Benue State, they came out to actually call on the government. The government went.
Yeah.
And after the government went and the government left, we heard that the security was increased, but still, we still kept hearing so many killings in that same, let's not even talk about the ones in other states in Nigeria. In that particular same state, we still hear of killings of 20. And you know the funny thing, before that number, that huge amount of number that actually was recorded last time, over 200 plus. Now, before that, people came out to say that that killing has been happening before, just like the way it is happening now. You hear 20, you hear 16. People don't really get bothered about the 20. It's until we hear maybe 200, 2,000. You will now come out and want to show the security measures you can take. And at this point, Benue State is tired of calling on government because, of course, you're the government. You have to help the states to actually be able to provide security for their own citizens. If they cannot look up to you for help, then you saying they should tackle their own security issues by themselves. What do you think?
Yes, you know, I'll always say this. Nigeria operates a federal police. Our security architecture is mainly federal. You know, we have a federal police. Everything is federal. So you saying the state government should take, how do they? You know, I remember when the Southwest governors, when they came together to form Amotekun, there was like a ruckus between the governors and the federal government. You know, Amotekun and watch their back, because it looks like, from all indications, it looks like the federal government is handicapped in our security situation. We just, you know, we plead the blood of Jesus in Nigeria every time. So it's the blood of Jesus now that we're hiding under now. So
okay. Still in the insecurity issues, we see that parents in public withdrawal 4 of words after brutal attack on the Lafayette University. That story can be found in page 2. The next newspaper front page we'll be looking at is the Daily Independent newspaper, where we see that Obi reiterates on one-term vows if elected president. We also see beside it that Kayamo justifies the $712 billion naira Lagos Airport renovation. It's wasteful, restless, ADC wants. And beneath it, we see that thousands of bank jobs at risk as credit tightens looms. And also beneath, that's in page 7, we see that NSDC boss urges farmers, investors to tap into 2 billion naira super sugar market. This is about a particular will I say soul lifting story. After all the whole ones we've been listening to, that Nigeria is actually still making investments in what they can actually export. And I hear that Africa is one of the biggest exporters of sugar.
Yes.
And them actually say the farmers, trying to tell farmers of their opportunities they can get in this sugar production is actually a good thing. But are there measures kept down to see that the farms are available? And apart from lands being available for farmers to actually farm this, because most of the queries that comes out from farmers is that when you have a farmland, somebody might come and say they have bought that land and they want to use it. Do we still have farmland safe in Nigeria that can actually plant a large amount of
this kind of produce? So you just asked the big issue, the big question. Even after, do we have the farmland? Are the farmlands also secured? You know, won't you have cows coming to perch on these farmlands? But like you stated when you began the story, you said it's a good one. It's a step in the right direction. I mean, governmental agencies needs to be putting out opportunities for people to invest, you know, and then telling people, come and invest in this $2 billion sector. Sugar sector is a good one, so that we can grow our economy. Sugar is being used all over the world. There's nobody that doesn't need sugar. You know, you need sugar for your body. You need a lot of things need sugar too. So if farmers can tap into that sector and begin to export sugar, it will all go well for the country. But like you also stated, what are the governmental plans in place to improve this, to improve the sector,
Security
to
as well as the make provisions for
make
that particular.
provisions. Yes. Are you giving people loans? Are you just telling people to go into sugar production just like that? And are you making the environment enticing? Are you making it good for people to invest in? So those are the questions that a lot of people will also ask.
The last but another beautiful story
Yeah.
coming from the victory, adding to the medals of Nigeria. Our D Tigress conquers Africa again and claims the 5th straight Afro basket title. Last week and last upper week, we were hearing of our
Falcons,
Super Falcons, and it was a nice thing. But see it again happening. Women again, the women basketball team has made it again. They brought back another cup and another medal added to Nigeria.
Yes, it's a big one. It's a very, very big one. You just ask yourself, women are making us proud. What are we, the men, doing?
Actually, what I said about because it does not look like I'm being biased.
What are the men doing? But it's a big one. This is the 5th title in a row. This is huge. I think we've won 7 Afro baskets. This is the 5th in a row. It just goes to show that we are really, really doing well on the African continent as regards basketball. When we won Senegal in the semi-final, that was, I think, 2 days ago, I said, we have won the title because Senegal is our biggest opponent when it comes to women's Afro basket. And so seeing the girls doing us proud, have a female coach. It's a female coach, a young female coach that is coaching them. And when I hear her speak, when I hear her talk, it just goes to show that we have really, really inspiring people in Nigeria that can push us forward. Now, this goes to show, let's also improve on our facilities.
Yes.
Because most of these girls, they are foreign based, and they also, like people that were born in the US, that just came to help their country too. So we also need to develop facilities. This should spur us up as a government that, look, let's develop basketball facilities in this country. Let's develop sporting facilities. More girls will be inspired to join the basketball team, so that when they see the football team doing well, when they see basketball team doing well, they'll be inspired. Oh, mommy, I want to be like Ezine Kanu. I want to be like all those people, and it will all go well for us.
It's a nice thing we're hearing. We ask that Nigeria keep making us proud in every other sector. We've come to the end of our newspaper review. We reviewed so many newspaper headlines as well as front page top stories, and we say thank you to our guest who made himself available. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Like I said, our thank you cannot be overemphasized.
Yes.
And thank you all to who were glued to their screen. All those people who were glued to their screen, our viewers out there. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms, as well as YouTube page on Idea Television. And do well to stay tuned to this particular station because we'll be bringing you more beautiful programs after this. And stay safe. Remember to stay informed. I am Jacob Stephen.